You're scrolling through LinkedIn on your lunch break, and every other post is someone announcing they just left their corporate job to go full-time freelance. They're posting screenshots of client invoices, pictures from co-working spaces in Lisbon, captions like, "Best decision I ever made." Meanwhile, you're sitting in a fluorescent lit break room, eating a sad sandwich, wondering if these people are lying, delusional, or if they actually know something you don't. Here's the uncomfortable truth. They're not geniuses. Most of them don't have MBAs. They didn't inherit money or win the algorithm lottery. They just learned a skill, one specific, in-demand skill, and they built it into something that pays better than the job they left behind. And here's what makes 2026 different from every year before it. The market has flipped. Companies are slashing full-time headcount and pouring that budget into contractors, freelancers, and specialists. Nearly 40% of all professional work in the US is now done by non-employees. That's not a trend. That's a structural shift. The traditional job, the one with the steady paycheck and the dental plan and the annual raise that doesn't even keep up with inflation, that job is shrinking. Not disappearing overnight, but shrinking, slowly, quietly. Until one Tuesday, you get a calendar invite from HR with no subject line. And you already know what that meeting is about before you even click it. My name is Nick, and I'm about to show you 5 specific skills that are quietly replacing full-time incomes right now in 2026. But I'm not giving you a generic list. Instead, I'm going to tell you about 2 people, Nina and Sophia. Same age, same city, same starting point. Wildly different outcomes. Nina did everything right by traditional standards. Got the degree, climbed the ladder, stayed loyal. And the economy thanked her with a severance package and a handshake. Sophia started in the exact same spot, but made one different decision. And that decision changed everything. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why one of them is still refreshing job boards at 2 a.m, while the other turned down a full-time offer because it would have been a pay cut. This isn't about hustle culture. This isn't about grinding yourself into dust. It's about understanding which skills the market is actually willing to pay for right now, and positioning yourself on the right side of that equation before someone else makes the decision for you. Let's start with Nina. Nina is 29. Communications degree, a few years bouncing between marketing coordinator roles, and by early 2025, she landed what she thought was the gig, mid-level marketing manager at a mid-sized SaaS company. The salary felt decent, not life-changing, but enough to cover rent, her car payment, and the occasional dinner out without checking her bank app first. That's the first piece. Nina is smart. She works hard. She's the person who always stays late to finish the deck, who volunteers for the cross-functional projects nobody else wants, who exceeds expectations on every performance review. And every year, she gets the same reward, a raise that barely covers the increase in her health insurance premium. Corporate America, ladies and gentlemen, where loyalty gets you a pizza party and a pink slip. Here's what Nina believes, because it's what she was taught. She believes that loyalty and hard work inside a company will eventually be rewarded with meaningful advancement. She believes that her degree and her title are her most valuable assets. She believes that stability means safety. So when Nina sees people on LinkedIn announcing they quit their jobs to freelance, she rolls her eyes. Survivorship bias, she thinks. And honestly, for some of them, she's right. But Nina makes a critical mistake. She assumes that because some people fail at it, the entire model is flawed. She dismisses the signal because of the noise. In late 2025, Nina's company goes through a restructuring. They don't call it layoffs. They never call it layoffs. They call it organizational realignment. Nina survives the first round. She picks up the work of 2 people who didn't. Her hours go up. Her pay doesn't. By spring 2026, the second round hits. Nina's role gets absorbed into a new AI-augmented workflow. Her manager explains, genuinely apologetic, that the company just doesn't need a full-time person doing what she was doing anymore. 2 months of severance. Gone. Now Nina is job hunting. And the market she's walking into is brutal. Every posting has hundreds of applicants. The roles that match her experience are offering less than what she was making. The roles that pay more want specialized skills she doesn't have. She's qualified on paper and invisible in practice. But it gets worse. And the worst part isn't the money. It's that voice in her head at 2 a.m. going, "I did everything right. How is this happening?" Nina didn't do anything wrong by traditional standards. She followed the playbook exactly. The problem? The playbook was never designed to protect her. It was designed to make her useful to someone else's business for as long as they needed her, not a day longer. There's a name for what Nina believed. I call it the credential fallacy, and it's the most expensive lie your university ever sold you. She gets a few callbacks over the summer. One company ghosts her after 3 rounds of interviews. 3 rounds. She prepped for each one like it was a final exam, and they just vanished. Another offers her a role that pays less than her last job. She takes it, because the severance is almost gone, and the quiet panic of watching her savings shrink every month is worse than any bad job. You've been there. So now she's back in the cycle. New company, same treadmill, different logo on the wall. Nina has one income stream, her salary, and it's controlled entirely by someone else. Her boss decides her raise. Her company decides whether her role exists next quarter. She has 0 leverage because she has 0 alternatives. And the thing that stings? Nina isn't lacking talent. She can write. She can manage projects. She can communicate complex ideas clearly. But she's never packaged those abilities as anything other than line items on a resume. She's renting out her skills to one buyer at a fixed rate. And that buyer can cancel the arrangement whenever they feel like it. The economy in 2026 doesn't reward loyalty. It rewards leverage. And leverage comes from having skills that people will pay for, whether you have a job title or not. Which brings us to Sophia. Sophia is also 29. Same city as Nina, similar degree. In fact, back in 2024, Sophia and Nina were in nearly identical positions. Both mid-level, both making roughly the same salary, both feeling that quiet Sunday night dread of another week doing work that leads nowhere. The difference is what Sophia did with her evenings. In early 2025, Sophia didn't quit her job. She didn't take some dramatic leap of faith. She didn't post a tearful LinkedIn video about betting on herself. She just started learning. Specifically, she picked up one skill she'd been curious about for months: AI-assisted copywriting. Not because some influencer told her it was hot, because she noticed something at work. Her company was paying an outside agency thousands of dollars a month for email sequences and landing page copy, and she thought, I could learn to do that. So she did. She took a couple of online courses. She practiced by rewriting her own company's marketing emails. She learned how to use AI tools, not as a replacement for thinking, but as an accelerator for producing high-quality work in a fraction of the time. Within 3 months, she was good. Not world-class. Good enough. Then she did something Nina never would have considered. She messaged a friend who ran a small e-commerce brand and said, "Hey, I've been learning this. Let me write your next email campaign for free. If it performs, we'll talk." It performed. That friend mentioned it to another founder. That founder offered Sophia a few $100s for a similar project. You know that feeling when you find money in an old jacket? Multiply that by 1,000. That's what your first freelance payment feels like. Not because of the amount, because of what it proves. Someone paid you directly for a skill you taught yourself, and nobody had to approve it. Now here's where it gets good. Sophia didn't stop at one skill. Once she understood the model, once she saw that people would pay her directly for a specific outcome, she realized the same logic applied everywhere. Here are the 5 skills Sophia stacked, and these aren't random. These are the 5 skills that are printing money in 2026 for people who actually bother to learn them. Skill 1, AI-assisted content creation. Not just writing with AI as a co-pilot. Companies are desperate for people who can prompt, edit, and refine AI output into something that actually sounds human and converts. Because here's the thing, everyone has access to the AI tools. Almost nobody knows how to make the output not sound like a robot wrote it during a fever dream. That gap between raw AI output and polished strategic content, that's where the money lives. Skill 2, short-form video editing. Every brand on earth needs short-form content, and most of them are embarrassingly bad at it. Sophia learned to edit using tools that barely existed 2 years ago. She can turn a 45-minute podcast into 15 clips in an afternoon. The demand here isn't slowing down. The platforms keep multiplying, and the content appetite is basically infinite. Skill 3, no-code automation. This one surprised even Sophia. Businesses are drowning in repetitive tasks. Onboarding sequences, invoice follow-ups, lead routing, internal workflows that eat up hours every week. Sophia learned to build automations using no-code platforms that connect the tools a business already uses. She didn't write a single line of code. She just learned how the pieces fit together. And when she showed a client she'd saved their team roughly 10 hours a week, that client didn't ask about her degree. They asked how fast she could set up the next one. Skill 4, UX and conversion optimization. This one came naturally from the copywriting. Sophia kept noticing that her clients had decent products, but terrible user flows. Landing pages that confused people, checkout processes that leaked money. She learned the basics of conversion rate optimization, how to audit a page, run simple A/B tests, and restructure a user journey so people actually complete the action. She didn't become a full UX designer. She became the person who could look at a client's funnel and say, "You're losing customers right here, and here's how we fix it." That's worth more than most people's monthly salary. Per project, skill 5, paid acquisition basics. Not become a media buyer, but understanding how to set up, manage, and optimize simple ad campaigns on Meta and Google. Sophia added this because her clients kept asking. They had the content, the landing pages, the automations. They just needed someone who could drive traffic without lighting money on fire. Most small businesses are spending thousands on ads with zero strategy. Sophia didn't need to be an expert. She just needed to be better than nobody, which is what most of her clients had before her. Now here's what makes Sophia's approach different from someone who just watches a few tutorials and throws up a freelancer profile. Sophia stacked these skills intentionally. The copywriting led to the video editing because clients needed both. The automation came in because she kept seeing the same operational bottlenecks. The UX work emerged from the copy audits. The paid acquisition rounded out the whole package. Each skill made the previous one more valuable. That's not a corporate ladder where someone else controls the rungs. That's a ladder you build yourself, where every new capability multiplies the ones below it. Now let me show you how Sophia actually structured this. Because learning 5 skills is one thing. Turning them into income that replaces a paycheck is something else entirely. Phase 1, the anchor skill. You pick one skill, just one. For Sophia, it was AI-assisted copywriting. You spend 4 to 6 weeks getting genuinely competent, not watching tutorials passively, actually doing the work, writing real copy, getting feedback, rewriting it. You do 2 or 3 projects for free, Not because your work is worthless, but because you need proof. Screenshots, testimonials, before and after results. That proof is your currency. It's worth more than any certification. Phase 2, the first dollar. This is the hardest part psychologically. Charging someone money for something you taught yourself feels fraudulent. It's not. You did the work. You got results. You set a rate that feels slightly uncomfortable. Sophia charged a few $100 for her first paid project. Was it less than she was worth? Probably. But that transaction changed everything. Because now she wasn't someone who was learning copywriting. She was a copywriter with a client who paid her. That shift in identity is worth more than the money. Phase 3, the stack. Once the first skill is generating consistent work, you add the second one, not randomly, strategically. Sophia added video editing because her copywriting clients kept asking, "Can you also do short form content?" She didn't go learn pottery. She listened to what the market was already requesting and filled that gap. Every new skill should make your existing clients want to pay you more, not attract a completely different audience. Phase 4, the compound. This is where it gets interesting. By the time Sophia had 3, 4, 5 skills working together, she wasn't competing with individual freelancers anymore. She was competing with agencies, and she was winning because she was faster, more affordable, and actually responsive to emails. Her clients didn't need to hire 5 separate people. They hired Sophia. The whole process, from first free project to replacing her salary, took about 14 months. Not 14 days, not some overnight transformation. 14 months of consistent, boring, unsexy work that nobody posted about on LinkedIn. That's the difference between Nina and Sophia. Not talent, not luck, not connections. Sequence. So here's where we land. Nina and Sophia started in the same place. Same age, same city, same salary, same frustration, same Sunday night dread. The only difference is what they did about it. Nina followed the playbook, showed up early, stayed late, collected her performance reviews, and trusted that the system would take care of her. And the system said thanks, cleared out her desk, and moved on without blinking. Sophia didn't have a trust fund. She didn't have connections. She didn't even have a plan at first. She had a laptop, a few curious evenings, and the willingness to be bad at something new before she got good at it. She stacked 5 skills, one at a time, because each one made the last one more valuable. And by the time the economy did what economies always do, she had something Nina didn't. Options. That's the whole thing. The gap between Nina and Sophia isn't intelligence or talent or work ethic. It's optionality. Sophia built something that no single employer could take away. Nina put everything into a structure that was never designed to protect her. And look, I'm not saying quit your job tomorrow. I'm not saying burn your resume. I'm saying the credential fallacy, this belief that your title and your tenure will keep you safe. That belief is more dangerous in 2026 than it has ever been. Because the people who still believe it aren't just standing still. They're standing on ground that's actively shifting beneath them. The skills are out there. The tools are free or close to it. The demand is screaming. The only question is whether you're going to keep scrolling past people like Sophia and wonder how they did it, or whether you're going to close this video and start. One skill, one evening, one project nobody asks you to do. That's how it begins.